Do tell, Tinkerbell. What made last Thursday so awesome?
Vegas, baby.
Really? Was that the work trip?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yep. It was really fun and like busy. There was always something to do. The one highlight for me was I went golfing and I got an eagle on a par four. And so that was like the best shot of the whole week, according to all the ones who played golf. So
Nice.
Awesome.
very proud of that. And what's funny is like I knew it happened. I sunk the putt and I go, that was two. And they go, that was two. You just got an eagle. I'm like, I
Wow.
know.
You had an awesome drive then if you were putting.
Yeah, it was. It was like a 180-yard drive. So it was beautiful. So felt good about that. And the day we went golfing, it was 72 degrees, no wind, just perfect. There was one point where I laid on the tee box and like a tee and like a starfish, and I was like, "Can I just stay here?" They're like, "No, Jess, get up." Like, I don't care. I know that's totally like not acceptable to do that, but it was just us and no one around, so.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful. But it was a lot. Like my head hurt afterwards. I was exhausted, like constantly talking and hearing the noise of casinos and people, and so I'm still recovering. But I'm super happy to be here. What have you guys
feel
been up
badly
to?
for you.
Yeah, I know. Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
What have you guys been doing the last 2 weeks? What's new with you?
Not much.
No,
I
same time.
I would say today was the first day in the last 6 months where I said I am done with winter.
Oh, yes.
Today was the day. Today was the day where I went. I'm had it with the snow and the rain and the sleet and the ice and yeah.
Constant.
This winter's been like, it's been terrible for the roads because it's been warm and cold. So it's like, and it's hovering, it's jumping above freezing and then below freezing, and it's making the roads so bad.
Yeah.
So I tell my wife, I'm like, construction, this will probably be the worst construction season you've ever seen.
For sure.
Like,
Oh, I'm
all
sure.
these roads need to be repaired, and a whole bunch of them probably aren't scheduled to be repaired.
Yeah, you are so right. And I bet you there's going to be tons of flooding this spring because
Yeah,
of all the snow that we got.
We've got the wetlands in our area. It's the highest we've ever seen it since we've
Mhm.
lived here. And so I said the same thing. I'm like, this is probably going to flood. And I'm like, I bet the river's it's probably going to be a really bad flood year.
Yep, our lakes are going to be exceptionally high, I bet. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Well, like California went from, extreme drought conditions in December to no drought in some areas in like in a matter of like 2 months. It's been good, obviously, for them, and terrible at the same time because it's lots of flooding.
Yeah. Fun.
And there've been one thing that doesn't get talked about is the severe weather in the south. So you're seeing lots of tornadoes and stuff in December, January, February, and even some in March, just like one right after the other. It's this really weird stuff where it's like there's this cold air that comes in and like it comes down so deep in the south that it sucks all this warm air up out in front of it, and it creates this really bad point in between those two where you get severe weather.
I didn't know that. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on.
It's like simple physics. It's however big it is, like the cold is, on either side it has to be the same size. Like it's just
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. fun.
Steve, who would you say has the best Coca-Cola?
Oh.
Who has the best Coca-Cola? Or
Yeah,
who makes the best cola?
No, who has the best Coca-Cola? So like,
Oh,
you're like,
okay.
I want
So,
a
like-
Coke, and where do you prefer to get it from?
Are you talking about like how McDonald's has their secret Coke recipe versus the Coke at the store versus that kind of thing?
Yep, 100%.
I would say the best Coke is at my house from a can poured over ice.
Do you even drink Coke?
Yeah, every once in a while.
Do you?
Yep.
Do you drink Coke, Ethan?
Yeah, I've been doing soda for a little while. That's gonna stop in April.
Hmm.
It might stop probably not next week, but maybe the week after.
No, I prefer beer. But I can't always be drinking beer during the workday. But if I need caffeine, I don't drink coffee, so it's either tea or a soda. Or caffeinated water.
Okay, so I got a story for Jess. Steve has heard the story, but I'm not going to use names because I want to see. I don't think this person would remember it, which is really funny. But I want to see if you can guess who it is. So I'm on the bench one time, and there were like a number of us that were on the bench, and it was like spring, summer. It was really nice outside, and it was a Friday. And so this person was like, we're all going to lunch to the place that's I think we drove, but it's like the clubhouse place that's like just behind and down the street. I can't remember the name of it. And so we go, and this person's like, the company's gonna buy us lunch, and I'm like, sweet, let's do it. So we all go, and there's like a new person. I don't think they had been out on an assignment yet, but they're new to the company. And so we go, and like the person that's gonna expense it orders a beer at lunch, and this new person is just dying. They are like so flabbergasted. They're like, wait, are you ordering, you're getting a beer? And they're like, yeah, like we're on lunch. And like this person could not get over it. And this person's reputation ruined forever for this like new person. It was the funniest thing.
Oh gosh, I know who ordered the beer. I don't know who is the one who is flabbergasted. Because you
that
are
person,
also... Huh?
That person's not here anymore, so I don't even remember who it is. They weren't here for very long.
Okay, because you're also indicating before COVID, because we were in the office. You were also indicating when you could order beer during lunch, because we stopped that at some point too. So you time stamped
Oh yeah.
the story.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So that's funny. Well, you'll have to tell me offline who the person is.
Yeah, it may have, and that may have been like after a stint at the Blue Box, because that place, it was really funny. There were so many contractors that work there. Right, it's super weird that it was like 90% contractors to 10% full-time people. But their SOP, that company's SOP was like you could have 2 spirits on lunch, which was always the joke whenever we go out to lunch.
Oh, really? That's
and
funny.
so I feel like it was around that time. It may have been after that time, because I was not phased at all that had happened.
Yeah.
It was like normal.
There was one time when I moved into my new office, and the old person who had the office left 7 bottles of booze under the desk. And so the office was vacant too for like 6, maybe 7 months. And so I went to him and I said, "Hey, do you want these?" And he's like, "Those aren't mine." I'm like, "Well, whose are they?" He's like, "I don't know, ask so-and-so," because then she was like hoteling there for a little while. So I asked her, and And I'm like, I highly doubt these are yours, but are these yours? She's like, no, I have no clue to whose they are. And so I asked around, and they were nobody, like literally nobody claimed them. So guess what I did? I took them home. No one's gonna claim them. And one of them was like, what is not Rumpelstiltskin? What's it called? Rumplemints. Rumplemints.
Wow.
And I still have it, and I'm gonna throw it away. It's like 7 years old, I think. So,
I wonder if it was like left over from a big party.
Yes. Like
It would have had to have been like off-site, like an off-site party, but I don't know that we carry that stuff back and forth.
Yeah, so I kept that.
Yeah, the office is funny. Like at least prior to COVID, it was the amount of. It's not like don't get me wrong, it wasn't a lot of alcohol, but it's like more than you would think would be in an office kitchen.
Yes.
Especially after an event, which was like weekly, but it's like after an event, it was not uncommon to find a number of wine bottles out.
Mm-hmm. You should have seen the women's event last night. There was more popped champagne bottles and wine than I've seen in a long time.
Nice.
Like, I'm usually the only one who opens up a bottle of wine at events, and last night there were like 5. So, which again is not a lot for the 20 of us that were there, but.
Were they popped due to like yes, or were they popped due to
They
or
were
a combination thereof?
No, they were popped due to we just need this. This is a much needed event. So it was International Women's Day, and so we celebrated that. Myself and 3 other women were panelists, and so we just kind of went and talked about our experiences in the world and why we got to where we are and why women's rights are so important. So it was a really fun event.
Cool.
How many attendees?
15?
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. 2 guys were there, 2 men were there, because it was open to everybody. And so 2 men showed up, which we greatly appreciated, because, men need to be our allies. So.
I hear those events are good places to meet women.
Yeah.
There's the grocery store, there's the health club, and international women's events.
That is hilarious. I bet you that is an amazing place to meet women. If you are a single man and you are you want to be an ally to women and support women, go to one of those, and man, you are going to get a lot of props.
Is that really the P word that you wanted to say? I felt like you were fishing for a word there. Like,
oh my gosh!
I'm like, is she gonna do it? Because that would be awesome. Is she gonna do it?
Oh my God! Yes, I was really thinking of props.
Oh man,
that's hilarious.
I will admit, when you did the long pause, like
Yeah.
you are going to get a lot of. I was like, where is this going?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And then when you said props, I was like, okay, I let it go, and then Ethan was right there too.
So I have to.
I don't really think that's what would happen. FYI, like it's not like I'm delusional. Like you're gonna show up and all these women. That's not how that works.
It actually might happen like that.
It depends on the person, right? Because like you might lose yourself if you go to like a handyman convention.
Oh yeah. See, just put me in the middle of like a construction convention. My boyfriend changed my oil or added more oil today, And he came up to me. He's like, "Smell my hands," and they smell like oil. I'm like, "Oh, that's the best smell." I love that smell. He's like, "You are so weird." I'm like, it reminds me of my grandpa. My grandpa was always working on something. And in the basement, there was oils and gasolines and just man smells. I loved it. Oh shoot, what was I gonna say? What were you just talking about?
International Women's Day, good place to meet women. Got to give them props. Oil on the hands. He was changing the oil.
Gosh, I can't remember. I was about to say something about. Okay, whatever. But it would have been cool if you guys would have been there. Next time, I'm gonna recruit you.
To the women's thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it. I don't feel like it was socialized a lot. Like I really didn't even. I think maybe a long time ago, I maybe saw the invite come across, and then like it wasn't until like Tuesday night or what was it yesterday? It wasn't until Tuesday that I was like, oh. Then I was looking at the calendar. I'm like, oh, that's on tonight. Okay, well, I missed the boat.
There's a lot of things that are not socialized very well.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So back to this alcohol at work thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't really feel like things are changing. I wouldn't. Like, I don't know. Only in my whole life I've ever known one person that was like super irresponsible with it and like we worked in retail and did show up to work drunk a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's not cool. And I did know at least one alcoholic, which was hilarious to me because like I went to his house Wednesday at 2:00 in the afternoon and he was like alone drinking in his living room. And I'm like, that's when I was like, oh, you got a problem, buddy.
Mm-hmm. There's something wrong.
Yeah,
here.
you need to get this fixed, dude. But
I thought I handled it well, though.
Yeah, right, yeah. Like I don't know. I've seen on TikTok the big meme is if you blow on your cup of vodka, everybody will think that you're drinking coffee.
Yeah. Like put it in a coffee cup and if you
cup.
blow, no one will know or something.
Yeah, that's what Michael did. He had gin in his.
Yeah, one time I had wine in my cup of coffee. And it was like 4:00 in the afternoon and I did it intentionally for people to like call me out. They're like, Jess, that is not wine or that is not coffee. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I showed it. But I think it's funny.
Did they call you out or were they like, I get it?
No, everyone knows that I drink wine after 4:00. That's my rule. If we're having a meeting, you need to be okay with me drinking a glass of wine or a drink.
I was at one place and they talked about they just had a fridge that was fully stocked all the time throughout the day. And we did like some giant release and the product, I don't know, the guy that took over that did the most hostile takeover I've ever seen. I got there like right as it was happening and it was the funniest thing to me. I felt really bad because the person that got ousted was like really good and a cool guy and the new guy was like the biggest D-bag ever. But so we were doing like this big release and it was funny because they were like, we're gonna release this, like, you know, we did this POC, so now we're gonna release this product. I'm like, you don't have a product, you have a hack thing. Like, you've never released this before to a customer. You have 5 of them signed up and it's not a real product. It's just a bunch of hacks. I'm like, so this is gonna go super well. And it was an all-night release, probably like 10:00 at night. That D-bag manager was like, I'm doing a beer run, and like went and brought back a few cases.
Oh my gosh.
For like the 5 of us that were there all night.
Jeez. This is
like,
here, let me push this button.
He was the only one that had multiple. I'm pretty sure he was the only one that had multiple.
Multiple cases?
Sam Adams is what he brought back. He was a big fan of that.
Oh, that's funny. No, I don't mind 2 beers or glasses of wine when I'm working, because there are times where you get in a groove with somebody and your minds are thinking similarly, and you're like, oh my gosh, what about this? And you're just like really solutioning and solving problems. But then like there's a point of over alcohol, and so you're like, nope, now you're not making any sense, and now it's just random shit. So like I'm totally cool with having a couple, but more than a couple.
That's how, like, the heyday of my favorite game, it was fun to play, because that's what would happen. You'd get in these groups with people, and people be drinking, and it's like there's this really weird point where it's like for like an hour everybody is just on their best game.
Yes,
and then it
absolutely.
just tanks after that. People's
Yep.
words start slurring. Like
Yep.
it's hilarious because it's
You
like,
start
yeah,
making bad decisions.
this is all anecdotal, but there for sure is like
Oh,
alcohol definitely helps you be better at gaming for sure, at least
Yeah.
most people, because it takes away that second guessing or something. But it's like,
yeah.
I don't know, that's the problem I have with like beer. Like you have to drink so much,
You know.
and then you have to like feather it, right? So you have to get in that sweet spot because it's like
Better.
There's a razor's edge you got to maintain.
yeah, exactly.
But like there's different types of beer though. Like the Coors Lights and the Bud Lights, you need a lot. Whereas there's like 12% ones out there where you only need like 2, or maybe 1.5.
I think like Not Your Father's root beer, that was pretty high. That was over 5%, I think. It was quite a bit.
I had a bottle of that I just poured out because it was sitting here for
Yeah.
years, and I'm like, I've had that stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm not even gonna finish this. It's been sitting here for years. Dump that out. But I do have an 11% beer in my fridge, and you're right. I like if I have 2 of them, I'm gone.
Yep.
I
Too
have
much.
1. Good.
Yep.
We should do that. We should have like an 11% podcast night.
I'll do that if I don't have work the next day.
I
I
agree.
mean, you don't ever have to have work the next day if you don't want to.
That's true.
That is
You can
true.
take a day off. And we do it on Thursday, so there's no expectations on Friday anyway.
That's true. And tons of people are taking tomorrow off because
St.
hey,
Patrick's
it's St. Patty's Day. So
on
they're
a
probably
Friday.
pre-gaming tonight. and then-
Absolutely.
And then, hey, laddie, going out for a few pints tomorrow.
I wish. That actually sounds really fun.
Jess is calling out.
Oh, I have meetings all morning until 2 o'clock.
Just move them.
So maybe 2 o'clock I will go to happy hour or something with.
Dude, nobody is going to be mad if you move a meeting from Friday to another day next week. Nobody.
Well, I have a customer meeting. I have three customer meetings.
Hey, if the customer's not dedicated to drinking, do we want them?
Good.
We got the standards,
That's the
and you
guy
got to
who
be
doesn't
borderline
drink.
alky. Are you making a joke about me being on the bench, Steve?
No,
Oh, okay.
I was not making a joke about you being on the
I
bench.
thought you said this is a guy coming from a guy who's on the bench.
No, from a guy who doesn't drink. That's what I was saying. So I have a question for you, and I don't even know the answer. I'm just was thinking about this. You know how you can, in any, let's just say at where we work, you meet people like the first day you've ever met them, and you get along really well with them. Okay, and then there are other people who you meet, and you're like, that person's okay, but over time you become really close to them.
Mhm.
Is there any correlation between the early onset or the late arrival of whether you remain friends with them or become better friends with them?
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
So like that instant connection do you remain friends with them longer versus like that grown friendship?
Right.
I don't know.
I was contemplating this today, and I'm
Really
not sure. I'm not sure what it is. I probably have to assemble the data and look at it.
I don't like. Okay, there's data. There's so much data going through my mind because I have instant connections with people often. Like it becomes like that's kind of one of my superpowers is that I build a instant communication, open line of communication with people.
You do. You're very open, warm,
Yep.
welcoming.
Like right away.
Yep.
I build that. But the people who I take more time to get to know over the years, it feels as though they're my friends longer versus the instant ones where it's kind of like a one night stand versus
Another P word.
versus like a long-term relationship. And yeah, I would say that the ones that grow on you are the ones that last longer versus the instant might be shorter. That's gonna be my take on that. What made you think of that?
Steve was infatuated with me immediately.
And yeah, I grew on him.
Yes, you've grown on me like a fungus. No, I'm kidding.
Totally a fungus.
No, I was thinking about this at a previous job. There were a couple things that I was thinking about related to this. There was somebody at a previous job that I got along with him really well early on, and then like all of a sudden there was like one day when I'm like, oh my gosh, he is a complete asshole. And like he's one person that I like hope I never run into again. Like I'm like I cannot work with this person. There's no way. But initially I was like, oh, he's great, you know. And then recently there was somebody that I haven't known him for very long, and I was like, boy, I really get along with this guy. I wonder how long it will last. That kind of thing.
And like a friendship or work?
Work,
okay.
Yeah. And so then that made me think, like, is there a pattern? And that's when I went back, thought about this one guy, and then I thought, who of my friends that I am close to, were they early bloomers or were they late bloomers? And I haven't really assembled the data yet. You know what I mean? But it just had me thinking. Ethan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, whoever you're gonna stay friends with for a long time is work, so it's whoever you're putting work in to is who you're gonna remain friends with. Whether, so I don't know. I don't think that how long it takes you to get to know them is really relevant. It's kind of like at some point you decide like this person's worth my time, and I'm gonna develop a relationship with them. And the other thing is the number of people out of the hundreds of people that I've worked with, I'm only friends with a handful still.
Sure.
And like don't get like, if I got to work with a bunch of them, like we had great times. If I got to work with them again, we would just pick up like old friends right where we left off. Like I know that for sure, but we don't like actively chat with one another. I had a friend that went to he went back to the place where we worked together and then we became friends at, and we all had each other's cell phone numbers, and so there was another person that was still working there, and they they texted me like 2 weeks after he got there, and they're like, "Are you coming back here now?" And I'm like, "It's awesome. It's really weird that you're still there because I can't imagine being at like one place like that like for so long." But it's at the same time, it's like, yeah, we all had a good time, and we'd love to work together again. But that's the first time that we had messaged each other since we quit working together.
Working together, yep. I don't know if I've talked to you guys about this. Maybe I have, and I'm repeating myself. But I've established a definition of a friend. And my definition of a friend is, if I die tomorrow, will you come to my funeral? Will you know about my death? And would you be able to come to my funeral? Or like, would you go out of your way to come to my funeral? So that is my definition of a friend.
Okay, so don't be offended. I don't do funerals. Like the only ones
You wouldn't come to my funeral at all?
I didn't go to our colleagues that passed away. I didn't go to a childhood friend that passed away. I haven't gone to any friends. The only ones I've ever been to are family.
Really?
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just not my thing.
You didn't go to our friend from, yeah, you know who I'm talking about? You
Nope,
didn't?
I didn't
Not at
go.
all. You didn't even go to like one of his parties that we had?
I went to the one that we had out by the client.
Oh, yeah.
Like we had a
Because
happy
you
hour
were
or
at the
something.
client.
Exactly. But it was weird.
Really interesting.
Yeah, so don't be offended.
Okay, well, I'll be dead.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna come stalk you, and I'm gonna haunt you. Would you come to my funeral, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you
Yep.
would.
Yep. You know, funerals are very interesting. They can be sad, but I've also had really great times at funerals where I reconnect with somebody I haven't seen,
Mhm.
and it's very therapeutic.
Yeah. If I die tomorrow, I've thought about this deeply. I want to like create a plan for my funeral so it's not sad. Like I want to play games. I want there to be like a keg and like a whole bunch of wine and champagne, and like I want it to represent like me, which is fun and outgoing and just bring people together and love life. Like that, I want to like make sure that it's not sad.
I will walk around at your funeral and I will dare people to go up to a complete stranger and pretend they're infatuated with, what was the dare? I'm trying to remember what you dared me to do.
No, was it you who I said go up to somebody
I
and
dare
ask
you to
them
go
what they're-
up to a person and look at them very awkwardly.
Yeah.
Which is easy for
And-
Steve. I mean,
And I did that. I was
Yeah.
like, sure, I'll do that.
Another one was, I dare you to go up to someone who you don't know and ask them if they had a superpower, what would it be? And someone said, not seeing through things, or don't say to see through things. What's it called? Like, you know,
X-ray vision.
X-ray vision. But yes,
I've thought about it too. Mine's gonna be a party.
yeah, a party. What type of party would you have?
Whatever everybody wants.
You wouldn't like plan your own party? Like, how do you know
no.
that it's gonna be a party?
I'll just tell them. Be like, have a party.
But like, you die tomorrow in like a
Yeah.
crash. No one's gonna know that you want a party except for me and Steve and
well,
the
there you
4
go.
people listening.
4 people. The poor people or the 4 people?
4, not another P word. Come on.
The four other people that will be there, I think is what she's gonna say. No.
Yeah. So like when my grandma died, it was written out.
Yeah.
She had everything. Who was gonna do? It was hilarious. I'm like, that's true grandma fashion, like 100%. So it was, yeah. I'm like, not quite like that, but more like, you know, not a typical funeral. Like just get together and have a party, and you can be sad, but like hang out and have a good time. Like, you know, this is the way that it ends for everybody. Like you're fooling yourself if you think there's anything other than that.
Correct.
It is what it's like. It's cyclical, just like anything else. So.
Yeah. And I want a funeral like right away. Like I die, let's have a party. I don't want to wait 6 months.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
I didn't have any stipulations like that, although I did just have a discussion with my daughter the other day that said, however I am disposed of, pick the cheapest option. If it's cremation, do it.
Do
If
it.
it's a crummy casket, do it. If it's throw them in a bag and toss them in the river, do it.
Do it.
I said, whatever's the cheapest. She went, okay.
That's funny. You were just talking about that.
Yeah, we were just talking about it this last weekend because she was visiting. And then she said, you know, do you have any songs you want to be played? And I'm like, I don't know, whatever you want. She's like, okay, I'm making the playlist now. I was like, okay.
Make the playlist now.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm also thinking about, I don't want to get married again, but I do believe in commitment. And so I'm cool with having like a commitment ceremony. And that's another thing I've been thinking about, of like just a party. Like, I just want a party. I don't want like a wedding or like the official or anything like that. I just want a party.
Yeah, that's all a wedding should be. I mean, having done one my own and then like doing wedding photography too, like it's so terrible that the groom and the bride are so busy and they don't get to enjoy the party that they have set up.
Yeah.
You know, it's also really fun, like hanging out with like the groomsmen and the bridesmaids. Like that's super fun too, because it's like this whole other like separate party that's going on.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It is kind of cool to like be there early before everybody else gets there, and there's all that going on. But yeah, it feels like it goes really fast, and they're doing a bunch of stuff, and they're trying to say hi to everybody, and they don't really get to enjoy it too much.
Mm-hmm.
I think too much of weddings are trying to meet other people's expectations.
For sure. It is. That's all it is, especially when you're young.
Yeah. I had some friends that got married at the Como Zoo in the conservatory, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually kind of set up for that. Like,
absolutely gorgeous.
But they did it backwards.
How?
So like the way that it normally is, like they've got so you at the top and you go down the stairs and then you walk all the way out, and there's like this little round pedestal with like 2 or 3 steps. Like that's where the ceremony usually is. They did it on the stairs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and so everybody like walked across the grass into the like from the wedding party, and then up the aisle to the thing. And I can't remember, they had a reason why they wanted to do it, but I remember them having a discussion about like, well, we're just doing what we want. And we're like, yeah, exactly.
Do it. Just do what you want.
Yep.
Maybe I should just plan a party. Maybe that's what I need. I've been thinking about my funeral and a party, like a commitment ceremony and a party. Maybe I just need to throw a party.
You guys have you thought about doing the power of attorney stuff, where like you don't get married where all that stuff's like built in, but you like go do the things where you get the same rights?
They have that? So I have been thinking about that because I don't want to get married. I don't want the legal documentation to say we are now taxing, like our taxes are combined, our finances, no matter what, are combined, like everything is combined. Like I don't want that. I want to be separate, but I do want him to make decisions on my behalf if I'm sick. You know, if anything were to happen from a financial perspective, I want him to be able to give it to my kids. Like I want the will still. So I was talking to somebody and I said, why do I need a marriage certificate? Why can't I just have a power of attorney? Why can't I just have a power of attorney to say, here, I want this, 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 and this?
Yeah,
done.
You can do that. The marriage stuff is just all that built in. So
yeah,
like I don't know, you could maybe look up I mean, it's common in like the LGBTQIA community in states where they don't allow it. They can still go have the same stuff, and there might be, you can maybe find a list of all the things that you need to do to get the same kind of rights. And then you get to pick and choose. You don't have to do it all, right?
I was talking to somebody, I'm like, I want to change the way marriage is viewed. Like, I don't want a stupid marriage certificate, but I'm really happy to know other people thought of this, and I don't need to do it. That makes me so happy. So I'm just going to go online. Thank you, Ethan.
Yeah.
I did not know, and now I know. And I'm not ready for that at all whatsoever. We are still about 5 years down the road before anything like that happens. So
it's so to me, it's exactly like, I mean, it's kind of what you're talking about, where it's this really weird stigma where, so a married couple, one of them is in like a really bad accident or they die, or both, right? And then everybody feels so bad for the spouse that is left. But that is not the case when they're not married, but they take two people that have been boyfriend and girlfriend for like 10 years. It's just as devastating. Like, it's the same thing, but nobody cares about the one that's left because they're married. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Nope.
We're so like the rules on our society are so weird.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I heard another one that was really interesting. It was about mental health, and it was this was talking about how it's not all like conservative leaning, but typically conservative leaning people are, you know, they don't believe in the mental health issues. Mm-hmm. And where it stems from is they're afraid of mental health. Like, so in their mind's eye, when you talk about like mental health issues, they're people that you should be afraid of. They're people that you don't want to be around. They're people that are dangerous to you. Yeah. Right? And so if you meet somebody who is kind of in that same space, but they're not necessarily afraid of you, they'll be dismissive about it. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's like, it's because they're they just don't understand. That's where it all comes from.
Yeah, not understanding is the key to a lot of dismissiveness and prejudice.
And so that one where they're just like, that's not a thing, mental health isn't real, is because you look normal to them. You don't look like what they think. It should be you're not dangerous looking to them. They're not afraid of you, so you can't have mental health issues.
Yep. Well, and a lot of mental health is extreme. Like, movies depict mental health as extreme, and there's not extreme.
Everything's a what do they call it? Not a scale, a spectrum. Everything's a spectrum. I mean, even our daughter with her, you know, the OI, when we first started out, you know, it was like there's 4 types, and then within a few years it had changed because of the amount of information they got, and it started to become more of a spectrum. And we were seeing that because we have friends that's the same type as her, but their fracture rate was so much higher. So we're like, oh, even it's different even within the same like one of the 4 types that there are. The other thing is like the 50s and how rude they were to people. Yeah. Like women that had postpartum, they like put in insane asylums and crap.
Yeah.
Like
I was watching something recently that they still put women in jail for like postpartum if they're not able to control it.
We had a friend that had postpartum really bad, and it was difficult. Like, she really struggled. She wanted to hurt everything.
Yeah.
So it was really weird. Mm-hmm. It was really weird to see. Obviously, like, we can't comprehend what's going on, but
yeah.
To turn this around, Neil deGrasse Tyson did a predictions for the year 2050, and one of the things that he predicted is that we will not need psychologists and psychiatrists anymore. That whole profession will go away because we will have solved all mental health issues.
I saw that same thing.
That's awesome, isn't it? That's a really cool thing to think about.
He had some really interesting predictions that I have to admit, like, I have a very dismal view of the future. And when I saw his predictions, I was like, oh, that could be all right. Yeah.
It's a
Who is
very
that?
Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a physicist, astrophysicist.
Yeah.
Wow.
very
But
All I typed was Neil, and like it heard me or heard you.
Mhm.
it's cool because you don't think of it like that, right? He's thinking of it from like a scientific perspective. Like, look
Right.
at all the money that's being poured into this science. Like, we're going to figure everything out.
Yeah, and he was like, we'll have medications, but they won't have any of the side effects or anything.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'm like, that's awesome because that's not that far away.
It's not that far away. Wait.
I'll be gone by then.
You'll be 80. No, you'll be 70, Jess.
I'll be 70. Oh, I need to deal with all my mental health until then.
I need to deal with all my side effects until
Yeah. We bought a new fridge
Ooh,
and it makes craft ice. Round
wow.
ice.
expound, round ice,
Oh.
Yep, so
spherical.
like spherical ice.
That's actually pretty cool. Is all of
is.
it?
No, it's
sphere?
not. No, so it's like it's still got the regular like little cube things, but then it's got this craft ice maker and it makes like 3 to 6 every 24 hours. So it takes forever to make them.
Oh wow, that's super cool though.
Yeah, I'm trying to stock up now. So like we're not trying to use it so we can get a full barrel of it.
For what? What are you gonna use your craft ice for?
I don't know, our fancy apple juice or something or Gatorade or whatever.
all the cocktails he's drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
His
Yeah, once it gets
4 o'clock
full,
margaritas.
once it gets full, I'll go buy like a really nice bottle of Glenlivet and have a little
Yeah.
bit and then be done.
It'd just be like totally worth it.
Yeah. I did
I didn't
with
know that was possible.
with the Frankie Award one year. I went and got like a $85 Glenlivet.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
this seems appropriate.
That's fun. That's actually a great way.